Hi, and welcome to the first in a series of videos where we're going to show you through the coach site team selector system. I'm Andy Davison. I'm going to be your guide through these videos. And we're going to start off with creating an administrator and then setting up a club and a tryout for that administrator. So let's get started. Fairly simple. Here's the sign-in screen. So if you go to coachsite.net, it's going to take you here. And the first thing we'll do is register. So I can go in here. I'll bang in my name. I'm going to use this email address. Oops. And all these fields will get validated. 55555. Year of birth. This becomes important for juniors, which we'll talk about in a later video. There's a little strength indicator for your password down the bottom there. And we'll just have to verify. Okay, buses, nice and easy. So we verify that, hit the register button, and it'll create an account and then send an email out to me to say, to get a verification for that account. So if we flick over to Gmail, and this can take 10 minutes sometimes. Hopefully it'll come through fairly soon and I won't have to pause the video. But you should check, of course, all your folders. So the inbox in Gmail is filtered. Sometimes you need to check your all mail. Sometimes you need to check your spam folders. But most of the time the mail's going to come through here. And there we go. So there's our email from Coach Site. We can click into it and we'll see some text, and in there is a link. I encourage people to check the links that they receive via email, but obviously I'm going to trust this one. So copy or click this link to verify my account. When I click on that, it will open up a new window. My account is verified. Please log in now. So I'll just close this window because I don't want too many floating around. Go back here and log in. And I can use the credentials I created a moment ago to log into my account. Alrighty, and we're into the system. Now at the moment it's pretty bland. I'm not signed up to any clubs. I don't own any clubs. So let's go and create a new club. And the club we're going to create is Coal Hill University. And I'll give it CHUV as a short name. And now obviously you want to identify where you are for people. Okay, club website I can set up. And that text will appear on the home page for the club over the link. And then we can add a club logo. These are the player profiles. That's not quite what we want. Coal Hill times 4, asset 4x4. That's the one I want. And I'll save that. And there it is. Now let's move this back into here. All right. So now we're looking at the home page again. I've got one club that I'm a member of, so I can click on that and I come to the home page for that club. I'll improve this over time to provide a little bit more information about your club, but for the time being, this is what's there. So at the moment, we don't have anything defined for the club, and the important things are we need to define a season. So that's the season of play, and it could be the year, or it could be a state league versus social, or a national league versus state, or whatever you need. But we can create that using this menu up here, seasons, and I'm going to add a new season. We're going to call this one State League 2023, and we'll make this start in April 8th, and we'll make it end sometime late October. Yeah, early November. There we go. And we'll save that. Now, a couple of things here. While this active box is not set, nobody else can see it other than the administrator for the club, and that's me. If I click that, now everyone will be able to search or see that season when they search for the club. We haven't got a lot of information in there at the moment, but I'm going to leave it active. And I can change the details just by hitting the edit button there. Okay, so that's the season. Now that we've got a season, a selector will pop up here that allows me to choose that new season. So now let's go to tryouts, and we don't have any tryouts set up for this club yet, and let's do that. So we're going to add a new tryout. We're going to make this the senior women's program. So this is the tryout period, and I'm going to set this up to be between the 9th and between 16th of February this year, and we'll save that. And now we've got a new tryout, and this is the dashboard for the tryout. So a couple of things. We haven't got a lot of information registered here yet, and we can tell that via the tryout readiness meter, which gives us an indication here of all the things that haven't been set up yet. And at the very bottom, it tells you to select tryout settings from the menu to set these. So let's go and do that. Here's the menu again. You'll notice it's different now that we've selected a tryout. Let's go to tryout settings. Okay, so details and dates we've set up mostly, except for this one here, for the offer deadline. So we'll fix that up at a later date. Let's go into contact details, and I'll just put my own details in here. Contact email address, gmail.com. And we're going to put, now that doesn't have to be me. That could be my competition manager, could be anyone. I've just made it me for the time being. Okay. Now, just a note, none of the information here will get saved until I hit the save button. And once I do, you'll notice that that little alert icon's gone away and the details are saved. Okay, let's go into publication options. Accept online registrations now. We don't want to do that yet because we haven't filled out all the details for the tryout. And there's a couple of QR codes. Only the registration QR code is operational at the moment. Now, application questions. For a tryout, we might want to capture some information about the athletes. So let's go and ask some questions. What is the highest level of volleyball you have played? And I do want an answer to that. I won't require an answer for that one, just in case they're new to the game. Again, I need to press the save button on these. Okay, so that's our application questions. Now sessions. For a tryout series, you might only have one tryout session, or you might have multiple. And here's where you define that one or those multiple. So let's just be unimaginative and call this one session 1. And we'll make this our venue, our home stadium. Now the session date for this I'm going to put at the start before today, and I'll do that for a reason. You'll see why in a sec. But I'm going to make this start at 6 p.m. and I'm going to make it finish at 9:30 p.m. And away we go. We've got our first session. I can delete that session, hitting the red garbage can, or I can edit any of the fields here. Okay, let's add another 2 sessions. Okay, and there's my 3 sessions. Now in the selection process, we'll be looking at various criteria or skills or measures or metrics that you want to assess for each of your athletes. And we can add those here. So the first thing is a name, and we'll call it service. And you can set labels for what you think a good service looks like, for example. So this might be aggressive, consistently. So we save that, and we've got service as one of our criteria, and we can again expand that and edit any of those that we need to. Let's add a few more here. Now, I can create as many of these or as few as I like. Obviously, the more I have, the better the discriminating power I have between athletes. But the more I have, the less likely it is I'll get good data. So somewhere between 6 and about 8 is kind of, in my experience, the right number of criteria to establish when you're going through an assessment process for athletes. Let's have a look then at attributes. So that's criteria. They're the skills that we're looking for athletes to exhibit. Attributes are physical characteristics. So for example, in volleyball, we're interested in a block jump. So how high can the athlete jump from a standing start? And they'll be measured in centimeters. And I'm also interested in a spike jump. And this is a jump from approach, also measured in centimeters. And they're the 2 criteria, 2 attributes that I'm going to measure. It's really important to note through the process of collecting data, every staff member you have will be able to contribute their view on the criteria, but everybody will see and share the same attributes for an athlete. So they get set in a common area. Tryout teams. Now, the teams are not specific to a tryout because you might have multiple tryouts that could feed teams. So the teams get created back in the season menu, and we'll do that. We'll go back and do that in just a second. Now, importantly, child safety. So when you have a competition that allows juniors, the system will ask their parents for consent for that athlete to participate in your tryouts. So if I uncheck this, juniors won't be allowed to apply, and that's determined via the year of birth that they gave when they logged in. Or alternatively, we can say, yes, we want juniors to apply. A junior is anyone that is 17 or that turns 17 by the 31st of December this year. And that's however it has been defined by your competition or your club. And then there's a message that you can give to your parents that lets them know, you've got a working with children, or a requirement for your staff to have working with children checks. You might have a child safety policy document, in which case you can add a link to that document directly into this form. And the form will show up in the tryout registration process for participants, which we'll show a little bit later. Tryout staff, we can't do at the moment because we haven't set up any staff as yet, so we'll come back and do that. And then import athletes is an ability to bring an Excel spreadsheet of athletes in if you've got already existing data. Really important to note, if you do use that function, any athletes you import, you won't be able to communicate via the system using the email offers and things like that. So it becomes incumbent on you to manage all of that process manually if that's what you're going to do. And at this point, we've pretty much got our tryout set up. So we've got our questions, we've got our sessions, we've got criteria established, we've got athlete attributes, and so on. So the next thing we need are some staff members. And I'm going to cut here, and I'll go away, create those staff members, and then come back and show you how we add those. And we're back. So I've just gone away and created some staff members, and you can see at the dashboard for the tryout now, we're almost ready. We've got a lot of the information defined. One of the key things though, we don't have any selectors defined. So let's go away and load that up. So down here at staff, we're going to add staff members. Now, really important, they have to be registered in the system before you can add them, because it will search for their email address. So there's Sarah. Let's add another one. And actually, we'll add one last one, which will be me. Now, I'm the administrator, but that doesn't make me a staff member or a selector automatically. So I've got to add myself as a selector if that's what I want to do. All right, so I've got all my staff defined. I don't, however, have my teams defined. So let's go back out to the club homepage where we can see our seasons and our teams. So here we're going to create a set of teams. These will be specific as it indicates for this season. So we're going to go women. And we've got a team. We can add another team. And away we go. So now I've got 2 teams added. They're not added to the tryout though. These are just the season. So let's go now back to the tryout, manage our tryout. If we go to settings and teams, now those 2 teams pop up, and if I want them included in this tryout, I just need to select them. Simple as that. And when we get back to the home page for the tryout, we can see we're ready to go. We've got 5 selectors. And the only thing remaining is for us to go and check the accept online registrations. Once we do that, we're live and ready to go. So that's it for the initial setup video. I'm going to do another quick video on what it looks like for participants to register, and we'll cover off the child safety aspect there. And then we'll go on to a third video on capturing data.